Now, fighting is continuing in Sudan for a third day today in the wrestle for power between the army and a paramilitary group called Rapid Support Forces. Nearly 100 people have now been killed and almost 600 others wounded. Experts say Sudan's neighbours are urging both sides to end the fighting. Let's go to Nigeria now and speak to our correspondent, Tesem Akende. Good afternoon, Tesem. Welcome to today, and thank you very much for your time. What are you hearing about what's going on in Sudan?
Well, first of all, the African Union has waded in, calling for a ceasefire, calling for both factions to give peace a chance. But I also start here from Nigeria. Our president, Muhammadu Buhari, met with his Chadian counterpart in Saudi Arabia, and together they are calling for a ceasefire, they're calling for peace, they're calling for both sides to sheath their swords and give peace a chance. Hundreds of people are injured. Many have lost their lives already. So they don't want this to escalate. Their fear is that if this does not, if peace is not given a chance, other African countries like Egypt, and other countries within that part of Africa might just, there might be an effect of the situation. So they are calling for peace, together.
Yeah, and the fighting, I understand, is between the army units who are loyal to the de facto leader of Sudan currently, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and then you've got the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, who are a paramilitary force who are headed by the deputy leader. So these are two leaders of this country that now are at each other's throats, literally, and people are being caught in the middle of it.
Yes, it's interesting that these two military leaders were before now allies. They worked together, worked together to the ouster of Omar al-Bashir in 2019. So it's a power tussle. It's a jostle for supremacy. They all want to be in charge of the Sudanese government. Going forward, there's been, suggestions as to whether these two people can come together and their forces merge together, under one military force, or under the Sudanese government. That's the position at the moment. Several African nations are calling for two of them to bring in their forces together, to bring their troops together for the peace of Sudan. At the moment, there are calls for both of them to, give peace a chance and allow democracy to have sway in Sudan. That's the position at the moment. Many of the civilians are going through, there are power cuts in Sudan at the moment. So the whole situation is taking a toll on citizens. But yes, some of the combatants are also caught up in the web of the deaths and, of course, the injuries. So it's not a good situation at all.
Yeah, I mean, since Omar al-Bashir was ousted, that was in 2019, the army there being in control, you said that the African Union is calling on both sides to come together and come up with a ceasefire and cease the hostilities. Is the AU planning, do you know, Tesem, are they planning to send an envoy to Khartoum to try and meet with the two leaders and try and mediate peace?
Yes, there are talks about, as a last check, we had about 3 countries, talks about three African leaders to be sent. But yes, there are also concerns about their peace and safety. And so there's a lot of security assessment. When that is done, of course, these leaders can actually advance to go and try towards mediating, so that the big African name can actually hold together. That's the concern. I started by talking about how our president here in Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and his Chadian counterpart, who have met in Saudi Arabia, are all talking together. It's a talking point here in Africa, not just in West Africa, but, of course, across the African nations. Just to add that beyond Africa, other nations, the US, the UK, are all concerned about what is happening in Sudan. They've issued out advisories you know, all concerned about their citizens in Sudan. So it's a talking point, and many people, many nations are concerned about the peace and safety, you know, in Sudan.